out there in radio land. This is K4VWD. CQ, 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 the old friend's net. This is an AM only net, but everybody that can generate an AM signal, regardless of net, of radio, is welcome. CQ, CQ, the old friend's net. Our net meets here at 3715 or thereabouts on Thursday mornings at 9 o'clock, Tuesday mornings at 9 o'clock, and Sunday afternoons at 4 o'clock. It looks like I'm about 100 cycles high in frequency. So CQ, the old friend's net. This is K4VWD, and I will stand by for calls.
Good morning, Lee WA4LLR.
4LQ.
To you.
A4GDN. WB4ARK. W4WU.
W4MEC.
W4VRO.
WA4EVK.
Boy, I'm telling you what, that was perfect spacing this morning. So here's the sequence as I have it. LLR to LQ to 2, excuse me, to 2U to GDN to ARK to WU to MEC to VRO to EVK. Who else do we have? Well, don't hear any. I need to tell you a couple of things. First of all, I want to, Ray, the other day you mentioned that I had a strong signal down there with the 8 watts, and I appreciate your comments. And I also wanted to thank Steve for talking about the power supply of mine that he's working on. And I may need some help today. I didn't sleep a wink last night. I couldn't go to sleep. I don't know why. I laid in bed all night long, never did go to sleep. So I guess I'm got sleep deprivation. So maybe I need some help today. But I feel all right. I feel kind of dopey. Anyway, one more time down the sequence. LLR, LQ, to 2U, to GDN, to ARK, to WU, to MEC, to VRO, and EVK. So, Dave, go ahead. WA4LLR, K4VWD.
All right, Lee, fine business. K4VWD and the old friends, WA4LLR. Good morning to everybody. We've got 39 degrees, sunny. Looks like the makings of a pretty day. Supposed to get up to about 50 up here in the mountains today. And then I think we've got rain moving in tomorrow, and then the colder, well, probably the coldest blast of the winter coming first of next week. And they're predicting some single digits for us up here in the high country. So that ought to be interesting. But everybody's got a good signal so far. And as usual, running the RT13 and receiving on the HQ180. So Steve, down to you, N4LQ, WA4LLR.
WA4LLR, N4LQ. Good morning, everybody. You're sounding good here. Signals are all nice and clean and loud and excellent and all that good stuff. I'm running the AF-68, driving the AL-82 to the horizontal loop antenna, and yeah, Lee, I'm working on your power supply here. I got the toroidal filter choke in yesterday and got that installed, so I don't think I have any hum. Let me look at the modulation here. So it's down pretty far. If I have any, I can't hear any on anything. I can make it hum if I adjust my grid tuning, though. That's the weirdest thing on some of these AF-68s. I can turn the grid tuning and hear all kinds of garbage. That's something else I need to work on, I guess. So it's going to be a rainy day tomorrow. Guess we'll prepare for that. Boy, oh boy, we have got plenty of rain here in the past month. WF2U, good morning, Mirror, N4LQ.
Good morning, everybody. N4LQ. This is WF2U. Again, good morning. A little bit chilly, but not terrible. And signals are good. The bend is quiet, so it's happiness on 80 meters. Anyway, when I got up, it was 27 degrees. There is some frost on the ground, and as of now, I just looked at the digital thermometer on the, and it is 36 degrees, so we're getting a little bit of defrosting. I'm running the Elmac AF-68 transmitter, putting out something like, about 60 watts or so, with modulation peaks, and carrier is about 35 or so, and the receiver is also a multi-Elmac. It's a PMR7, and the antenna is an 80 meter and fed half wave, about 45 or so feet, and hopefully by Sunday I'll have the DX100P online again, because I wanted to use a little bit more power some time ago when I was not aware that my Carolina Windham antenna was broken, and tried to load the DX100P one time at the net. That was in the late summer sometime, and the plate current went a little bit high, and then the fuse blew, but I was not aware that that particular fuse in the high voltage transformer input was a separate fuse, and this transmitter came from Jim K4DE, so he made some modifications, and there is a fuse holder inside, so I have to take it out of the case, and found a blown half-amp slow ball fuse. So hopefully it will come back online when I turn it on again. So I still have to. I didn't have time to activate it by this morning. So anyway, everybody's strong. Lee, you are 10 to 15 over 9. Dave was about 15. fairly steady, and Steve 15 to 20 overnight on the factory S meter in the PMR7 power supply. That's the external factory S meter. So with that, it goes to George, K4 GDN. This is WF2U.
WF2U and groups K4 GDN. And QSB is getting you a little bit there, Mir, but I am copying above the Elmac fine. This morning in Myrtle Beach, it's pretty well clear. The sun is out. We've got some high clouds. Survived the storm on Tuesday pretty well. This morning I'm running the Viking Ranger 2, loaded quite lightly into a 6 dB attenuator, putting about 9 watts into the homebrew 811 linear, and it looks like it's putting about 150 watts carrier, and I'm running somewhere in the neighborhood of about 180 mils of plate curve on that. And I'm receiving on the HRO 50T1. As far as the linear is concerned, it looks like my dissipation is about right at 100 watts, so I got a little bit of cushion there, putting out a 150 watts carrier, and I'm on the center fed dipole this morning. So with that, I'll pass it on to Buddy. WB4ARK and the group K4GDN.
K4GDN, WB4ARK. Okay, George. Very good signal here into Lake Wylie this morning. And we had we had 2.37 inches of rain on Wednesday morning, measured in the rain gauge. That came on Tuesday, mostly. Tuesday afternoon. We had a fairly heavy storm front that came through. I haven't seen that much rain come down in as short a period of time in a long time. It's been several years since we got that much in that short a period of time. So nice blue sky today, but getting ready for another storm front tomorrow. And it looks like it might be kind of rough with lightning and some wind. We had one old tree next to our driveway out here fall over. Of course, it was rotten in the bottom, so we'll chop that up today and move it into the backwoods. Wasn't very tall. It was probably about 25 feet tall, but it didn't have many limbs on it, so it's not a big loss. So over to yes, W4WU. You haven't been in for a while. This is WB4ARK.
Yeah, good morning, buddy. Thank you. Good morning to everybody on the net. It's W4WU. Yeah, I haven't been in here in a while. I've been working on some equipment, doing other things, and I've been rearranging my station, so you might give me a comment on how my signal is this morning. Now using the GPR90 that Joe had, and went to Steve, and I think, Leah, you had it before Joe. So I don't know the provenance of it, where all it's been, but I remember it was Joe's at one time. And I'm also using, gosh, my whole station sounds like Joe's sometimes, the Viking Valiant 2. Leah, I know you had it, and Joe did, and Billy did. So it's been around the world, too. I don't know how long I'm going to stay in here this morning. I got to go somewhere with my wife, so she might call me any time. But anyway, I'll pass on over to you, Charlie. W4MAC, it's W4WU.
Real good, Richard. W4WU and the old friends W4MEC. Well, it's 25 degrees here and clear. And I had 5.5 inches in my rain gauge, be that as it may. And my pond has come up quite a bit. I know there's a formula that says if you have so many square feet of surface water and it comes up 1 inch, it'll tell you how many gallons you got. But a friend of mine said he had a pool, in-ground pool put in last year, and he says he's out there running the pump to pump it down. It was overflowing during the storm there, so quite a lot of water here. A lot of roads closed yesterday morning and Tuesday afternoon. And basically, with all the roads that were closed, we were sort of cut off. So I think we probably could have made it down towards Brevard and come back that way. But most of the roads here leading into town were underwater, and they had them blocked off. So that was all totally gone by around noon yesterday. So all drained off and went somewhere. I went and checked my storage buildings. I got 2, and just to make sure, and they were high and dry. So I was happy about that. So. Running my standard station here mainly because it's nice and warm with me in the house and not out in a cold garage. So Heathkit TX1, transmitter, Apache transmitter, Mohawk receiver RX1, and Heathkit 2040 tuner feeding window line to an 80-meter dipole. So about 55 feet up. So that's my primary rig here, and we're still working on the other options, but right now the other options are about in a room that's about 38 degrees. So, so we're staying here. All right. Let's see. Down to Ray, W4VRO in the group W4MEC.
W4MEC in the net, W4VRO. Very good, Charlie. And good morning to Lee and to everyone on the net. Dave, it's colder here than it is in Burnsville, which is surprising. It was 29 degrees here at daylight. It's close to that now. But it is sunny and clear and calm. Tuesday night we had a tremendous amount of rain. I don't know how much, but the small river that runs through this property was way, way out of the banks, flooded severely. A few roads were closed. There was a lot of flooding. Macon is about 50 or 60 miles southeast of me. The Okmulgee River, which flows right by Macon, is at a higher flood stage than it's been since 1964, I think, and will not recede below flood level until Saturday afternoon. Some roads and a lot of farmland flooded. Really a lot of rain. And so let's see, Lee, I hope you can get some sleep today. That's hard to get through the day with no sleep the previous night. A lot of good signals this morning. George copying you about 80%, and Mir copying you about 90%. Your signal is weaker than I've heard it for a long time with that rig. Boom, very strong. I think you're using the plate modulated rig. I don't remember exactly what it is, but last 2 or 3 times I've heard you. Very strong signal, good audio. So down to you, Boone, or up to you. WA4EVK in the group, W4VRO.
W4VRO in the group, WA4EVK. Thank you, Ray. I'm using the AF-68 into a old Swan amp to a in-fit half-wave cut for 80. Good to hear Richard on this morning, and pretty good signals. Copying George, which is sometimes difficult from this location. My antenna doesn't seem to be the right direction for that, but most of the time I can copy fine, doing okay this morning. It's about 33 degrees here. We're looking forward to another sunny day. Not much going on here. I did rework one of my common mode chokes and get the line noise down, receive line noise. Kind of took me by surprise. I didn't think, I thought I had that to a dull low as much as I could. And Lee, man, I hope you get some sleep here this afternoon or whatever. I know how that is. I've had it happen. Not often, but boy, I do get tired when that goes on. And with that, I'm going to send it to Lee. K4VWD, WA4EVK.
Okay, Booth, thank you very much. This is K4VWD. The name's Lee, Lima Echo Alpha. I'm in Greenville, South Carolina, running the AF-68 today, feeding a Bandit amplifier, about 190, 200 watts carrier, a dipole fed with ladder line from the old 10 Tech tuner. And Richard, your signal is strong here. You're 20 over. Good signal here. And my rain gauge, when I dumped it after the storm, it was 4.9. So, Charlie, I guess you're top dog on the rain. At least today, anyway. So, take a quick standby to see if we got anybody else who would like to join us. If so, please call me now.
KZ 4 Bravo, KZ 4B breaking.
Okay, John, go ahead and make a transmission and turn it back to me.
Okay, I had the amp turned off. There you go. I should be hearable now. Very good. I managed to grind the 3700 kilohertz crystal up to 3715, so I'm on crystal control according to my optoelectronics freak meter, which is supposed to be 0.2 parts per million. It's dead nuts on 3815. One trick that I got from my grandfather, who used to grind crystals for all of his friends, is when you get close, it's real easy to overshoot, and you can bring the frequency back down with pencil lead, a graphite pencil lead marked on one or both sides of the crystal, depending on how far you need to go. And if you overshoot that way, you can use lacquer thinner and wipe the graphite off the crystal and go back up. So we are crystal controlled today, so drift is less of an issue than it has been. And I managed to come up with enough injection capping off the output of the T150A to get an accurate frequency reading, I hope. And of course we're on the Ameritron AL1500. Today, Buddy won is full quieting. He's won the prize for the strongest station. And Lee, you're a close second. The pipeline is working. There's some QS Baker, and my wonderful next door neighbor's solar system, I think, is putting in a over S9 white noise signal on top of everyone if they can't overcome it. And weather-wise, we had a steady rain. It never rained that hard, but it rained until the late afternoon. But the lake is way up, so there must have been, it's not right at full pond, but it's getting there. There must have been a lot of rain in the mountains
coming this way. So, thanks for letting me in, and back to you, Lee. K4BWD in the group, KZ4B, over.
Okay, John, very good. Good transmission. And thank you for the signal report. Let's see. It's time to go around again. And I appreciate everybody paying attention. This sleep deprivation with me has been going on for several months. Most nights I don't get but 2 or 3 hours, but last night was 0. Boy, it's strange, I'll say that. I have no idea what to do about it. My nurse is going to get me some help. She is supposed to come back to see me today. And with that, excuse me, Dave, go ahead. WA4LLR in the group, K4VWD.
All right, Lee. K4VWD. And the group, WA4LLR. Well, good morning to you, John. Great signal, and congratulations on getting the crystal on frequency. Sounds like you did a good job. Everybody is sounding good up here. Charlie, I don't blame you for staying in where it's warm, and it's interesting, we're 11 degrees warmer than you. That's strange, and Ray, it's interesting when you guys are colder than we are. Richard, I think your station sounds great. Doing a super job. And Steve, good deal on Lee's supply. Sounds like you've got it nailed down. And Lee, I hope you get some rest. Sleep deprivation is not fun. So we'll be praying that that clears up. As far as the rainfall, we only got 3.8 inches, but that was enough to flood some, but no major damage. I am looking for a speaker for an RME 4300. If somebody has an XS RME speaker somewhere that would match the 4300, I would certainly be interested in it. Other than that, the space weather today, sun's pretty active. The sunspot count's 183. Solar flux index is 186. And the K is 2, so the upper bands ought to be popping pretty good. As far as events from this day in history, on this day in 1935, Amelia Earhart made the first successful solo flight from Hawaii to California. On this day in 2014, Israeli general and politician Ariel Sharon passed away at age 85. On this day in 2008, Sir Edmund Hillary passed away. Of course, we know him as being one of the first to climb Mount Everest. He was 88 when he passed away. On this day in 1964, the Surgeon General of the United States, Luther Terry, announced cigarette smoking is linked to lung cancer. On this day in 1878, milk was delivered for the first time in glass bottles in New York City. And on this day in 1861, Alabama was the 4th state to secede from the Union. So that's pretty much it on the news on this day in history. So I'll send it on back down to Steve. N4LQ, WA4LLR.
WA4LLR, N4LQ, slightly off frequency. Now, there we go. Almost as accurate as John's crystal. John, I wonder if you could tell us how you went about grinding that crystal down. That would be interesting if you used sandpaper or how you did it. And I guess it took several tries to taking it apart, putting it back together over and over again. It sounds like quite a process. But it's good to see you right there on frequency, stable as a rock. And that T150 night kit sounds really, really good. Good audio from it. We got 4 1/4 inches of rain Tuesday, and it was definitely an oddball day. I haven't told the net this, but we usually on Tuesday we go to Zaxby's to get our lunch in the truck, and we take the dogs with us, and the guy always has 2 dog treats prepared for us, and they're just some kind of dog biscuit thing, but they're chewy sticks. And boy, the dogs just have a fit when we go to Zaxby's. And we got our stuff and went over to the parking lot in the mall, Cleveland Mall over here, just a vast hundreds of acres of blacktop. And we sat there, and the rain got started real hard, and it started getting dark, and the wind started picking up, and the rain was coming down in sheets. And we the truck started rocking, and this shopping cart shot past us all by itself at about 30 miles an hour. And I said, it's time to get out of here. So we kind of put the lunch away as best we could and headed home. And anyway, I got back home and finished my lunch, and I went out to check my newly dug creek drain to see if it was draining in the right place. Just about 200 feet walk, and turned around and came back. And on the way back, all of a sudden I was hit in the face with this blast of hot, moist air. It was like walking into a steamy shower or something. I couldn't believe it. And you could see the steam and feel the heat. And I got back in the house, and I looked at the thermometer, and when I left it was 43, and when I got back it was 52 degrees. It had gone up almost 10 degrees in less than maybe 10 minutes. And I just thought that was really strange, and all the windows on the outside of the house were all steamed up. Anyway, having said that, the room moving process got done yesterday. I tore into it, got all the furniture moved for the XYL, as she likes to do every couple of years. And Dave, good luck on finding that rare speaker. WF2U N4LQ.
Roger, N4LQ and the net. This is WF2U. Yeah, very good all around. And copy everybody 100%. Okay, so here are the reports from this round, the previous round of everybody whose turn was passed to me. So, George, you were between 5, 6, and 7. You're at QSB. Buddy, 10 over 9 to 15 over. Richard, good job, and you were relatively steady at S9. Charlie, 5 to 10, dB over 9. Ray, you were much weaker than usual yourself, and we usually have almost like a pipeline between us. You were between 5, 6, and 7. Boone, good 5/8 signal. And John, S7 to 9 with some QSB, but of course there is a little fluctuation also from the controlled carrier of the T150. So this is the report. And as far as rain goes, I read 5 inches, actually 4.95 inches on my digital rain gauge that is part of my digital weather station. So that's what we had. Luckily, we are on top of a hill, so everything runs down. We don't have much mud. here. The only problem that we have when it's raining hard and kind of persistent pace, that a lot of the water that runs down goes on the driveway, and it's a gravel driveway, so it washes it out a little bit and leaves all kinds of little gullies, and sometimes it looks like a dream track for an off-road vehicle. So when you drive down with a car, you just make sure that you go up at the higher parts and don't bang your bottom by going into one of the gullies with a tire. So what I do is I go down with my big tractor and kind of drive it backwards with a front loader down and use it as a scraper. So I kind of go from the bottom to the top, and that will bring up some of the stuff that is washed away. And then I go back and forth, and it sort of does a relatively good job. Well, until the next rainstorm. But that's the way it is. Yeah. So everybody sounds good now. And that's it for this one. So, George, it's your turn. K4GBN. This is WFU. George, it's your turn.
Okay, I'm having a hard time copying Mir. I was turning the BF on and off. And last Tuesday, we got some rain, but the wind was more of a problem here in the Myrtle Beach area. There was a water spout reported, and there was supposedly a small tornado up north of us, but it was mainly wind. But when I went out Wednesday morning, I didn't have anything but a few little twigs on the ground to pick up. So it really didn't do a whole lot. It did blow a bit, though, in the afternoon. But by about 7 o'clock, it was gone. And didn't really do anything here as far as damage. I was kind of worried about the antennas, but everything went okay. And everybody's coming in here pretty good with the exception of Mir. He did fall off towards the end of his transmission. I was having a hard time talking, but everybody else is pretty well okay. Here's USB. And as far as the rig that I'm running here, I would really be interested in trying to put some 572Bs in this full linear and see what we'll do. Right now I'm running about 250 watts input, getting 150 out, which means I got about 100 in plate dissipation, which has got a little bit of a cushion there as far as carrier is concerned. But it would be interesting to see what I could do with a pair of 572Bs in there. I may try that and see what it does. The power supply is easily capable of handling it. And the 811s are running cool as a cucumber, no color at all on them. So it would be an interesting little experiment to see what goes on there. So with that, I'm going to pass it on to Buddy. WB4ARK in the group K4GDN.
K4GDN, WB4ARK. Okay. George, very good signal today. Mir, I don't know what's going on with your transmitter, but your signal starts dropping off after you first come on, and by the end, your volume level is extremely low. I've got headphones on, and if I didn't have those on, I don't think I could copy you very well. Your signal bleeds down to almost no audio in the end. So your carrier level is like 60 dB on the R390A, so I don't, it's got something to do with your audio drive. If I didn't mention it, it was 28 degrees here this morning at 7:30. Not sure what it is right now, but I hope some of you saw the information I put on the Old Friends net about measurement of your rain gauge. The measurement of the water is in the rainfall area is a depth measurement and not a volume measurement. In other words, it's not an inch per square inch, but an inch per area. So you might keep that in mind. Let's see what else we got. We had, like I said, a fair amount of wind. We didn't lose power on Tuesday. We had some lightning, and it got very windy Tuesday night. We had some pretty good gusts, but again, we didn't lose any power overnight. So we had a pretty good outcome with the storm. However, some of the areas around Charlotte got flooded very significantly. One of the areas was close to where we lived in Charlotte, in the Cotswold area. There's some low-lying areas around Briar Creek, and some of the areas got flooded. And there are other parts of the city that got flooded. So it was a pretty good mess there. And they also had some tornadoes in North Carolina, and a couple of deaths, I believe. So it wasn't a good day for weather, and I hope we don't have any storms like that this go round. So Richard, I hope you're back on, or you're still on. You had a very good signal out of your newly revamped station. Sounds very good. And yeah, I would like to hear John's information on how he ground his crystals. Did you use a powder or sandpaper, or just exactly how you did that? So over to W4WU, WB4ARK.
Okay, thank you, buddy. It's W4WU. Well, we had, I was trying to think of, I have a Davis weather station here also, and we had about 3.66 inches of rain, according to the digital rain gauge. And we had some water to come in our basement. We got a strange situation with that, and I don't really know what's going on with it. I've tried to work on it and alleviate the problem and that sort of thing, but it'll come in around the basement has a door that goes outside, and the outside ground level is lower. But it'll come in there, and when our stairs come down from upstairs to a landing, and it comes in under that landing too. Of course, I can't see under there because it's floored and has carpet on it. But anyway, thank goodness for a shop vac. We kept vacuuming and sucking up the water. The rain quit. Of course, the water quit coming in, but it dried up much faster than it has in the past. So anyway, I do have to run. It's good to hear everybody this morning. Thank goodness the water doesn't come on my side of the basement where the ham shack is and all. It's just too much there. We'd probably get wet if it did come over here. All of you have a good day. Good to hear all of you. I think Greenwood Ham Fest is Saturday, and I might make it down there. I'm not sure yet whether I am or not. But anyway, over to you, Charlie. Everybody have a good day. 7-3 to all the net. Good to be back on. W4MEC is W4WU.
Okay, Richard, very good. Well, maybe talk to you Sunday. Have a good day. W4WU and the group W4MEC. Real good. Lee, I was curious about whether you, drink any coffee, tea, or eat a piece of chocolate after about 5 o'clock. I wonder if the caffeine's getting to you, and I wonder if you're watching the news. You don't want to watch the news either. That'll keep you awake. It'll give you nightmares. So, wonder about that. My wife was telling me that in the rain, this is a strange thing. In the rain, the sewage treatment plant here in Hendersonville had to do 10 discharges of untreated sewage into a stream that goes behind them, and I was curious about where that stream went, so I went on Google Maps, and I know exactly where that place is, and I'm following the road, and it's not there on Google Maps, and it's not that the map is old, because the place has been there forever, and there's a huge subdivision near it now, and the subdivision is on the map, but the sewage treatment plant isn't. So I wonder if it's like Area 51 or something. They got it hidden. But anyway, so I think there's a federal fine when they do stuff like that. But pretty much all that water leads to the French Broad River, so I hope Asheville likes our water. So anyway, thankfully I'm on a well with a septic tank, so let's see. Well, I know the discussion about the rain gauge, but I bet you $1 to a donut if I move my rain gauge from my deck over to my dock 300 feet away, it would probably say 5.5 inches too. So in my area, I got 5.5 inches. And let's see, what note did I put down here? Oh, my comment about the generator and the total harmonic distortion. I don't know where that's going, whether that's just one of these things they blow out of proportion or not. But I was looking at a Northern Tool generator, 11,000 watts, peak, 8,500 watts running, and there wasn't any spec. And normally when they don't spec out THD, it means it's high. And if it's low, they're proud of it, and they will put it in the specification. So I asked them. They came back and said 5%. And I said, are you sure? I asked them again, and another guy came back and said, yep, 5%. Well, I'm still not convinced. So I've gone one step higher. I'm waiting for their answer. And if it's 5% and you're worried about THD and 11,000 peak watts will do it for you, that generator's on sale for $900. And the closest one that I have found is around 2,000, and that's only 7,500. That's only 7,500 watts for a THD of 5%. So either they're lying to me or that's a really darn good generator. So, but anyway, let's see. I was going to comment about the I was playing around. The Mohawk receiver has 2 gain pots, an RF gain and an IF gain. And I've been running with the IF gain at 0, and what I think it's doing with it, because I was testing it on a couple stations like Dave. Dave is S3 with my RF gain at 0 and perfectly copyable. When I turn it up, he's 15 over. When I turn up the IF gain, he becomes like 20 to 25 over. But I think it has more to do with the signal-to-noise ratio than it does with really a lot of gain, because George, I have to bring up the IF gain a little bit, and if I go too far, he becomes hard to copy. So I think they put those in there because of single sideband, and to be able to match the BFO output such that it will actually demodulate single sideband. As you know, some of the receivers don't have enough BFO, and on a strong signal it sounds like you have no BFO. Well, you can sort of control that with the Mohawk's IF gain. But anyway, most of the time I run it at 0 and run everything else with the RF gain. So just to comment on that odd setup. So, and I think there's a couple fellows that have taken out the IF gain and put them together with one control, but I'm not sure why they would do that. So let's see. Hey, W4VRO to you, W4MEC.
How about it, Ray? Are you there? I don't hear Ray. So go ahead, Boone.
Thank you, Lee. K4VWD and the old friends group, WA4EVK. Well, Dave, going back to your quest for a speaker, I have down here RME 4300. I was at the Berryville Ham Fest with N8SH a couple years ago when he bought several items of RME gear. I will check with him to see if he has a speaker. If that's not the right model, let me know on the next go-round. And with that, I'm going to send it down to John, KZ4B. John, I'm pretty interested in hearing the crystal grinding details myself. Never done it, but would like to try it on some I've got laying around here. KZ4 Bravo, take it, WA4EBK.
John, go ahead. KZ4B, K4VWD.
MEK in the group KZ4B. Have I got it?
Yeah, John, go ahead.
Okay. I was messing with something here and grabbed the wrong mic. With regard to the crystal grinding, my grandfather used to use a very fine grit valve grinding compound on plate glass, and I found that to be entirely too messy to part with. So I use 800 grit sandpaper if I'm close in frequency, 400 grit if I need to go a long way, and then transition to 800 grit on plate glass. So that's the grinding part. And again, once you get close to the frequency, if you overshoot, which you want to try to avoid, then you can use graphite pencil lead marked on one or both sides of the crystal, depending on how far you have to move it, in order to bring the frequency back down. And if you overshoot bringing it down, then you can gently wipe it off with any kind of a solvent that's going to evaporate to erase it. Do not use an eraser. That doesn't work. So that's the trick. And next comment, on the weather, on the day of the storm, I talked to a gentleman down east somewhere that said he went to work. This is on Monday, not on Sunday. This is on Monday. He went to work, and at work there's a huge parking lot with a dumpster on one side of the parking lot, and he parked his truck on the other side. And the wind came up and blew the dumpster into his truck. But fortunately, it hit the truck on the rubber bumper, so it didn't scratch the truck or hurt it in any way. But that takes a horrendous wind to move a dumpster. He didn't say how much trash was in the dumpster, but an empty dumpster blown across a parking lot is a pretty big deal to me. Let's see, I wanted to mention that on Sunday, the power went out here around 6 o'clock in the evening, and I had to run my generator for 3 hours so I could watch Levin on TV. The cable came back before the power did, so I got lucky there. And I drove around the neighborhood looking for links, found nothing. So I was almost of the impression that maybe we were the victims of load shedding. We were without power for 24 hours last Christmas Eve due to load shedding. They had a recloser that they tripped remotely from the dispatcher, but the recloser could not be remotely closed, although it was supposed to be able to be remotely closed back. And I noticed that recloser on our power line has since been totally eliminated. So I don't know what's going on. On the total harmonic distortion, all electromechanical synchronous generators, in other words, a gasoline engine is driving a generator, have relatively good total harmonic distortion. Even a cheap one usually does a pretty good job because, you know, it's the sine wave is generated by the coil. It's rotating in a magnetic field, so there's not that much to it. But if you have an inverter type generator, which is something that I have a Honda, which allows you to save a ton of gas or fuel when the load is light, because the frequency is generated electronically and the motor can slow way down. They have a tendency to create all kinds of harmonics and hash. And but the Honda is quiet as a mouse, thank goodness. But you got to be careful with the inverter types. And let's see, I think that's it. How's that for an old buzzard? So, Lee, I guess it goes, let's see if I've got my order straight. I think I'm the tail end, so back to you, Lee. K4VWD in the group KZ4B, over.
Okay, John, very good. Good transmission. This is K4VWD. Well, a couple of notes I've got here. There's been no damage here with the 4.9 inches of rain. My lot is pretty flat. We had a few puddles back in the edge of the woods, but no, nothing major. And Charlie on the coffee. Yeah, I don't drink any coffee after 3 o'clock. And yesterday I didn't drink any after 1 o'clock. So I don't know what's causing this problem, but it's been going on for a couple of months now. So if anybody's got any suggestions, I would appreciate it. My nurse is going to try me on a very low dosage of melatonin. So we'll see how that works. On the crystals, I have ground crystals, but I use the big heavy piece of plate glass and the compound. And I remember grinding one for Hank, W2IQ, and I ground some for myself in the past and for some others too. And you have to use 2 fingers on that crystal when you move it around, or else you'll get it where it's not consistent. Fritz made me a clip where I wouldn't have to use the screw on the screws on the plate of the crystal. I could just slip it over, kind of like a clamp, and hold it to check the frequency. So, and that worked out well. So, but I used plate glass, used the compound, and used 2 fingers to rotate the crystal to move it around, so that I got a more even pressure on the crystal on the plate. So, but it was fun. It was a good learning experience, and I enjoyed doing it. So let me take a quick standby. Do we have anybody else that want to join us? Please call me now. Don't hear anybody. So, a quick 73 round. Go ahead, Dave. WA4LLR in the group. And Richard is signed out, buddy, so you'll pass it to Charlie. WA4LLR in the group, K4VWD.
All righty. K4VWD in the group, WA4LLR. All right, another good round. Enjoyed the dissertation on crystal grinding. I've never had the nerve to try it. I keep saying I'm going to, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't think I'm quite that finely tuned, but I would like to try it. Boone, in answer to your question, and I certainly appreciate you checking on the speaker for me, the rig is a RME 4300, and the speaker is an RME 4302. An RME 4302. So if you can find something, that would be awesome. Lee, thanks for calling the net. Everybody have a great day. 7-3, God bless. Lord willing, we'll see you on the net Sunday afternoon. And I've got to get out of here and take my wife to an appointment in Asheville. So hope everybody has a great day. N4LQ, WA4LLR.
LWA4LLR, N4LQ. Yeah, I was just noticing that speaker. I looked it up, and it looks like was made by Electro Voice, the RME Electro Voice 4302. So there must have been a pretty tight relationship with Electro Voice and RME. Somebody may know more about that. Anyway, well, that was real interesting about the crystal grinding. And you said laid on plate glass. I'm assuming, John, what you meant was you lay the sandpaper on the plate glass and then you rub the crystal around and around on that. That seems to, that's what comes to mind anyway. And Lee, apparently you really do have insomnia. If you stayed awake through that description, you're doing pretty good. That was almost 8 minutes. John, so real good job explaining that. And I've got some here that I don't care about the frequency they're on, so I may just start grinding it, see what happens. I've got some 160 crystals that are on like 1820, and I'm wondering if I can get one up to 1864. That's a long way. It's going to take some, I may have to get the sander out and power it up, use it on that thing. Anyhow, it's been good hearing all the great signals this morning, and we'll say 73s to all those that are gone, and have a great day. And over to Mir, WF2U, N4LQ.
N4LQ, and the net this is WF2U. Okay, I think there is a little QSP here and there, and I don't see any difference in the output of my transmitter here, the AF-68, and I'm also monitoring the plate current of the modulator, and it didn't change. I might have actually, what might have happened is that I looked away because I was looking for something in this area, where this station is set up, and I was looking at another microphone from another room. I have several microphones in a box here, and I might not have been speaking into the microphone. Anyway, yeah, the crystal is I was lucky enough, and just before they closed the last consumer-type crystal factory, I think it was in California, and right now I forgot the name of it. I ordered several 3715 crystals and a few 3885 crystals from them, and then the factory burned down, and then they never renewed the operation after the fire. That was probably about 15 years ago or so. But I know that if anybody wants to order crystals and they don't want to use those digital pre-programmed oscillators, that's actually a VCO. That it's a digital VFO that is pre-programmed in one chip, and it's cheap. There is a crystal plant that is taking orders from private people. It's in the Czech Republic, and it's not very expensive either. And they are still in operation. Anyway, I'm crystal controlled, so as I said, one of those crystals that I ordered 15 years ago. So, thanks Lee for running the net, and take care, everybody. Keep warm. Well, that's enough time to wish a little bit of more warmth for next week. But anyway, it was good to hear all the nice signals, and I had no problems copying everybody. We'll be here Sunday afternoon, and in between on 160 meters. That is pretty active lately. So, with that, George, I hope you copy me. Take care, everybody, and have a good weekend. K4GDN, this is WF2U 73.
Okay, WF2U and K4GDN. I got about 10 or 15% of that. Anyway, about grinding crystals. It's been a long time since I did it, but I always use plate glass. And once we use AJAC, but probably mostly sometimes for work. And when I was told, the important thing was to use a figure 8 grinding pattern when you were doing that, and try to keep everything flat. Don't push too much on it. And you have to be careful not to do any chips on the crystal when you're getting them down. But it's been a long time since I ground any. And if I could come up with some something up around 12.4, 12.5, I might try grinding me some for my great 4B so I can get on 160. I've got one, but it's a little hard using just one crystal because you can't really get everything all set up right if you're doing sideband on 160. Anyway, I enjoyed it. Everybody, thanks for calling it. And that sleep business, that's kind of bad. If you're a diabetic, I'd say get you a shot of rum before you decide to go to sleep. That might help. I used to do that. Haven't done it though in a number of years. So anyway, I enjoyed the net today, and look forward to being here on Sunday. Hopefully we'll survive the storm tomorrow. So with that, buddy, coming to you, WB4ARK Group, K4GDN.
K4GDN, WB4ARK. Okay, George. Good copy on your signal today. And Mir, I think you must have moved away from the microphone again at the end because your signal dropped off. So, but it was quite strong, and you were getting close to 100% modulation. And it looks like my frequency is 2714.9. It's dropped down a little bit off the 310B. So, well, International Crystal sent me some grinding powders, 2 different types of grinding powders, 2 different grit of grinding powders, and I gave some to Fritz, and I may have given some to you, Lee. I don't remember. But I still have some left. It doesn't take very much, and it doesn't take long to do it. And you have to be really careful that you don't overdo it. And George suggested using a figure 8 pattern when you're grinding, and I that is definitely an area of that you need to follow that procedure. It's something that you want to keep the crystal as consistently ground as possible. You don't want any high and low areas on the crystal surface. And be sure to clean the crystal when you finish. You can use soap and water and then dry it off with a lint-free cloth. And make sure it's very dry. And that will do the job. I haven't tried sandpaper, although a very high number of sandpaper should work okay. But you want to be sure you keep it very flat on the glass plate. I think that's about it for now, and I'll say 73, and we'll turn it over to Charlie, W4MEC, WB4ARK.
Okie dokie, buddy, WB4ARK in the group W4MEC. All right, there was a check-in there. When you called for late check-ins, Lee, he was very weak. I heard the carrier in a voice, but I couldn't pick him out. So I don't know if he was DX or what, but anyway, he was there. Grinding crystals, buddy, it's interesting because you probably did give that to Lee, and Lee gave me all his grinding stuff quite a few years ago when he moved to his new QTH. A big sheet of plate glass. The thing's about 3/4 of an inch thick. And I experimented. I wanted to move a crystal that I think it's a FT241 holder. I'm not sure. It's the kind that's pretty big, and the top is kind of contoured where you can grab it on each side with your fingers and pull it out of the holder. And it's got like a little handle up there. And I had one at about 2,500 KC, and I wanted to bring it up to 3715 to use in my little Lear radio transmitter. And I started with the coarse grit, and then I started with the fine grit, thinking, well, I don't want to overshoot it, so I did a little grinding, and I put it on my checker, and it came out to like 25.0005. I said, well, let me step up the grit. And I kid you not, I must have ground on that thing for 45 minutes on and off, and it only moved it up about 10 kilocycles. I don't know what it is about the quartz in that particular holder, but it was tough. I think I could have taken my belt sander to it first to get it somewhere close to 3715. But I sort of gave up, and there was a FT243 socket someone had put in that transmitter, and I plugged my 3715 crystal in and talked to everybody on it. I haven't used that thing since then, so I'll get it out. along with a few other things like an ARC 13, get it going too. But it's all out there freezing right now, and I don't want to be. So let's see, Richard. Let's see who's next. I'm not know. Ray was gone. Maybe Boone is still there, and we'll give it over to him. And say 7-3 to all. We'll see you on Sunday. WA4EVK in the group. W4MEC.
W4MEC in the group. WA4EVK. Whoops, had to switch antennas there. Good, fine business on the crystal grinding. Boy, that was lots of good information, John. And Steve, RME was a division of Electro Voice after World War II. Our common acquaintance there, my friend Jerry, N8SH, has got a fair amount of RME receivers up there, and is pretty knowledgeable about them. And with that, I'm going to get out of here, and I believe it goes back to Lee. 73's everybody, and we'll talk to you later on. K4VWD to take it, WA4EVK.
Okay, Boone, thank you very much. This is K4VWD. Well, right quick, does anybody have any final comments? If so, call me now.
Roger, WK4BWD, KZ4B. Steve is absolutely right. You put the sandpaper on the plate glass. And Boone, I left out a very important thing. The figure 8 pattern for grinding is most recommended. And one last thing, if you're moving it a little bit like I did from 3700 to 3715, I actually used my finger. But if you gotta move it any distance, you need to use something very flat on top of the crystal, either a small piece of glass or a small piece of very flat metal. And with that, 73, thanks for calling the Net League, and enjoyed it today. KZ4B clear and over to.
Anybody else with a final comment? If so, come now. Well, I've ground several crystals, and I never put anything on top of them. I just used both fingers to even up the pressure. Excuse me. And buddy, you did send me the powder, and I certainly appreciate it. And like Charlie says, he's got it all now. He's got clips and all that. Seems like I had something else to comment on, but I can't remember what it is right now. Anyway, one more standby. Anybody else with final comment? Don't hear any, so this is K4VWD 73. God bless everybody, and we'll shut down the net, and I'll talk with you on Sunday, I hope, and maybe with some sleep. So y'all take care. K4VWD is now closing the Old Friends Net.